everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Today's the Day Changemakers podcast. I am Jody Grunwald. This week, I am super excited to share conversations that I had with entrepreneurs from around the world. A new episode each day from Monday, December 13th to Friday, December 17th will air as my guests will share their journey to entrepreneurship. Being an entrepreneur is not easy. It takes tenacity, determination, motivation, and the ability to just keep going, even when it may seem like there are so many hurdles to jump over, or that there are others out there that may be doing something very similar. If you have a fire in your belly to do something that is calling directly to you, then listen in to hear how these entrepreneurs found their differentiator and brought an idea into reality. On Monday, December 13th, you will hear from my guest Nadine van Leerup from the Netherlands, founder of the Orange Typewriter. Nadine is an international copywriter helping businesses to communicate successfully abroad. She is also the host of the Special Needs Supermom podcast. On Tuesday, hear from Christine Scar from England. She shares how she left being a full-time architect to start Kvist Interior Designs and the newly launched Kvist Boutique. On Wednesday, Joanne Colella from Arizona talks about how she went from being an editor-in-chief of 5 monthly magazines to starting her own communications business. On Thursday, take a trip with me to Dubai, where Nadine Sowah shares her WheresHome journey and how she helps expats relocate. Then finally on Friday, join Charlotte Lester from the UK as she talks about her Burnout Slayer toolbox. We all know someone who has experienced burnout. If we haven't experienced it ourselves, she has tools that can be of assistance to all of us. These are 5 entrepreneurs who have decided it was time to control their destiny. Listen in to hear stories of inspiration that actually may inspire you to make today the day that you take steps towards reaching your entrepreneurial goals. Please subscribe to the Today's the Day Changemakers YouTube channel or stream this podcast on all streaming sites. Visit todayisthedayliveit.com to learn more about our upcoming International Changemakers Forum. It is time to challenge ourselves and disrupt the status quo. This is an international networking opportunity along with 6 Ignite Your Spark live breakout sessions with over 30 of my Changemaker guests who are leaders, CNN heroes, TEDx speakers, and more. All of this will be done via Zoom on March 24th. You do not want to miss this inaugural event. You can purchase tickets on todayisthedayliveit.com. Again, visit todayisthedayliveit.com and follow us on social media at todayisthedayliveit. The views expressed by all Today's the Day Changemakers podcast guests are their own. Their appearance on the Today's the Day Changemakers podcast does not imply any endorsement of them or any entity that they represent. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Today's the Day Changemakers podcast. I am Jody Grunwald, and as I say, I always get to chat with those who are the change makers in the world, doing good, making a difference. And I am so excited today to talk to Nadine Sowah from Dubai. She is the founder of WheresHome. And so, hi, Nadine, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I am so good. And I'm so happy that we can finally sit down and chat and talk about you and WheresHome. And so nice to just talk to people from around the world.
Yes, it's proven a bit difficult with the time difference, but we've managed to do it. So I'm very excited.
Absolutely. Our time difference is not as bad as when I spoke to someone, Pam Ahern from Australia. So this.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah.
So that was 14.
The content of that one.
That was not, it wasn't terrible because it was like 7
okay.
and 9 a.m. there. Not too bad.
Okay. Not too bad.
No, not at all. But I love that I get to do this and I get to meet incredible people like yourself. And
thank you.
And I have, we have FEA to thank for this as well, Female Entrepreneurs Association. And that's I'm highlighting entrepreneurs because I'm meeting incredible people through that organization who are all just doing whatever they can to better themselves and out there. So Nadine, let's chat about you and WheresHome. So tell me, where did you grow up?
Okay, so I am originally from London, if you cannot tell by the accent. So in fact, I was actually born in Sunderland in the northeast of England. And we moved to London when I was 1 year old. And we moved down with my mum and my father, my two brothers. And we moved because it was racist in the Northeast, actually. So my mum picked us all up, moved us to London where it was more diverse. And we started our lives there, which was really, really good for us, like best decision that my mum could have made. And I lived in London, which was great. And I done, the school, the college, the university, kind of the path that you're taught to go along, if you like. Didn't come from a family of entrepreneurs. My mom was a carer, my dad was an accountant. So, it's your typical kind of, normal life, if you like. But in fact, now both me and my brothers are all now entrepreneurs, which is really, really interesting. So we've all kind of gone down this journey now, and we've all kind of been in, I guess, normal careers, and then we've kind of had a change and followed our dreams and passion, really.
That's great. Do you have any idea maybe what the catalyst to that was for all of you? Or was it different for each one of you?
I think it was probably the same, to be honest. I think we grew up on a council estate, so we kind of learned about, I guess, the hunger and the fight for success. If you like, it was very much like, you kind of had to work hard on what you wanted to get. And I think also as well, we were quite blessed. We had opportunity, we worked for it, but we had good opportunities, and we had the right people to come into our lives to kind of let us know what was outside of, I guess, the normal education route, if you like. And we're all different. So obviously I run WheresHome, which is a relocation company. My brother runs a football agency, and my other brother runs a gaming company. So it's really different in every way.
Very, very different. But so that's totally amazing. But, you said something that I am very keen on, which is, the right people in your life.
Yeah.
And connection is at the root of everything that we are as human beings, whether it's to ourselves, to others, is that feeling of connection. When you're connected to the right people.
Yes, correct.
You give you good advice or hire you or whatever it is, but everybody we meet, I truly believe there's a reason, and sometimes it takes a little while to uncover why.
Completely.
Some are just for wonderful friendships, and others and others are to help in ways that you'd never expect. So, which
most
is
definitely
pretty amazing.
Yes.
Is there someone that you could think of that really was, influential in your life? Did you have a mentor that helped you to figure out that you wanted to become an entrepreneur, or with WheresHome?
Well, actually, my career is actually finance. So I graduated in business studies. I worked in finance for 14 years. And I then changed. So if you don't mind me going ahead and telling you why WheresHome came about.
No, please do.
And it would kind of make sense. So I live in the UAE. I've been an expat here for 6 years. And we came over to Dubai for my husband's job. And he works in telco. And whilst you're an expat, when it's good, it's very good. But when it's time for you to go, maybe you've lost your job or you decide to leave, you then have to leave the UAE. It's not, it's not like when you're in your home country and you can kind of stay and, kind of pay your way. You need a visa to stay in that country. And so what happened is my husband actually got made redundant, and we were thinking about moving back to the UK. We had been out of the UK for 6 years. We were now returning back to the UK with 3 children. So our lives was completely different. And we were like, okay, it's time to go, where we're going to move to. And we spent hours and hours trying to find a location to move back to. We literally had a spreadsheet of pros and cons of every location. So we had like train stations. Where does it take us into? How long is the commute? What's the average house price? What's the crime rate? And then we found a location and we're like, okay, great. So now we need to find a mortgage broker. Now we need to find shippers. And we were like, this is crazy. Like, it shouldn't be this hard to try and repatriate back to your home country. And funny enough, so we had the conversation, it was like, oh, if only there was a website that done this for you. And funny enough, my friend actually sent me an interview with Tyler Perry. I'm not sure if you know who he is.
Yeah.
And it was a really good interview. And he said, if you go to bed thinking about something, if you wake up thinking about it, it's God talking to you. And then it just clicked. Actually, this is God talking to me. And actually my passion has always been helping people in property. So I was like, how do I now make this a business? So that's kind of, so that's where it started from. Then obviously I mentioned earlier, my brother's an entrepreneur, and I spoke to him. And the first thing he said to me was, I said, oh, I have this business idea. And he said, one question, does it resolve somebody's problem? And I said, yes. He said, then it's a good business. And I was like, yeah, I have approval from my brother.
Validation.
Exactly that. So then that's how WheresHome came about. And also probably, if I had to say a mentor, it'd probably be my faith in God, to be honest, because as you know, when you're starting a business, you do come across a lot of obstacles, but it felt like even when there was one, there was like another door that was opening, and that wasn't meant to be the door. So that's kind of where that journey has taken me and where I am now with WheresHome.
So it actually almost sounds like Tyler Perry was a little bit the mentor. He didn't even know.
100%. And even again, I actually listened to another interview with him last week, and he also said something else which I found inspiring again. And he said that even if you're working hard towards something and only one person shows up, that's still one person that knows who you are, and that's still a sign to say keep going. So I always listen to his interviews because, I guess he is probably my mentor actually, and definitely had a massive influence on my journey so far.
Wow, and he has no idea.
He has no idea. There's a saying that he says as well, climb and maintain, and that's always something that's in the back of my mind as well.
Yeah, because entrepreneurship is not for everyone. And it's
no.
No matter if you have the best idea in the world and it has a resolution and answer to other people's problems, doesn't mean that the road is easy to create that.
Exactly.
It takes a lot of courage. And what I've been talking about with all entrepreneurs too is that unfortunately, entrepreneurship is also not looked at sometimes. And unless your organization has 500 employees and is way over $1 million, that as, treated the same as the CEO, of XYZ large organization.
100%. I totally agree with that. And I think I remember growing up and kind of that perception of entrepreneurs was that you wasn't good enough to go and get a job in a corporate firm. That's kind of how you were led to believe. But actually, when you are going through that entrepreneur journey, it's so much more than that. You have to have so much determination. And, it's not for the lighthearted. As you know, it is very much hard work, but the rewards of it on the other side is priceless, and working for yourself and definitely kind of ticking, you celebrate every single win. When you're working in a corporate, unfortunately, you're just still there, working really hard, and there's not the same reward.
No, and even if you do get, and I know this from I did the same thing, is that when you work in an organization, they may celebrate you for the moment. But my father had a saying, you're only as good as your last sale. Whatever that, or your last whatever, whatever you're doing. But when you're an entrepreneur, that last thing or that first sale or that first sponsor or whatever, you're still celebrating bringing in somebody into the organization.
Definitely. Yes. Yeah.
And if you have employees, you're hopefully teaching them to do the same, and that you're there to support them because you just went through the mill trying to get there, and you want them to support it as well.
Exactly.
Not everybody is the right fit for your organization.
Yes.
In some cases, entrepreneurs nurture a little bit, and I could be wrong on this for some organizations, just an opinion, but they nurture their employees even more because you want to hold on to every employee that's the right employee when you're an entrepreneur.
No, most definitely. Yes, definitely. I agree.
And the other thing you said is if you solve the problem for one person, and I said that in this podcast, if one person listens, and I was able to have one person, it makes a difference. So now what happened with your husband's job? So that's your journey here. So I want to
So another thing to know that in the UAE, things take forever. So even though he had other opportunities, trying to get the contract and the start date and the visa just takes forever. So even though he knew it was going to be okay, as a mum, I was like, I need to physically see a contract, a start date, and know that our visas are in process. But in Dubai, it's inshallah, when it happens, it happens. But obviously being very British, I'm like, I need to know timelines. So you do have to be very thick-skinned as well, and kind of, have that laid back approach, which as an accountant, I don't have. I've always had to meet deadlines each month, but it did work out fine, and he knew it was going to work out fine. But I think it was me as, the woman and the mum that I then had to have a plan B. But I do believe that period that we went through was meant to have happened for WheresHome to have happened. And without that, if things had gone as straightforward as we had thought, we wouldn't have WheresHome now. And WheresHome helps so many people, because some people decide to move back. I have clients who are contacting me to move back next summer, and that's great. They're preparing a year in advance. But then I have other people who contact me and say, gosh, I need to leave in 4 weeks. I have 30 days on my visa. I need to leave. I need to get school places for my children. I need to find a short-term accommodation. And yes, there are bigger companies out there that do similar to what we do. We are quite unique in what we offer. But it's the sense, again, it's the validation you mentioned earlier, and that when I speak to potential clients, it's the ease that I automatically give to them to say, we're here, we can help, and it's the, thank you so much, I needed this. And for me, even if I only have one client, it's enough. That is the validation, and that's why I do what I do. And to kind of, when they do get to the other side and they're settling and they're happy, again, I know that I've done the right thing.
So tell everybody, because when we chatted, before this early on, about what WheresHome does exactly, and where people contact you from. I know some of the larger organizations you're working with as well.
Yeah.
To go back, and I didn't know when we first talked what an expat, right? So you had to explain that. I felt so silly, but that to me. But so tell I want to make sure our listeners understand the undertaking that you had to do in order to create this organization, because you offer a lot of incredible information to those who hire you.
Yeah, exactly. So WheresHome is a bespoke relocation company. So we help expats all over the world, but predominantly the UAE, KSA and Oman. And what we do is we help expats relocate back home to the UK. So actually, funny enough, since we last spoke, we've actually had a few inquiries about moving expats to Dubai, which wasn't what we originally set out to do. Because of WheresHome, it was started with, we're taking you home. We want to give you that ease and that, because when you have been an expat, for those that don't know what an expat is, it's when you work abroad and you're living in a foreign country. And when it's your time to go home, depending on how long you've been away for, there's so much anxiety, so much fear and questions. And we want to be able to put your mind at ease and let you know that, yeah, it is going to be a different culture shock or different change in your lifestyle, but we can make it as enjoyable as possible to help you move back home. So what we do is we kind of, first of all, we meet with our clients and we kind of find out why they're moving, because this will play a big part in kind of understanding their requirements a bit more. If it's, they're planning a year in advance, we know we have time, we can find you the dream home, the perfect schooling, etc. If it is within a month, then obviously it's a rush. So you may not get what you want, because trying to find a school place, depending on what time of year, you may not get a school place for your children. So you may have to sacrifice on a school that you may not have chosen. So we kind of really work with them to understand their needs and their requirements. And I've actually built a good network of partners, and they help at each stage. So we have two elements. So you might want to move back to the UK and rent, which is fine. So we can, obviously find you a location. We can find you an estate agent to find your home for you, like your rental. We'll ship your belongings. If you have pets, we'll ship those as well. Schooling, we'll sort your children's school places out. We handle all of that. But also on the other side, when you get to the UK, is we don't just end there. We don't just pick you up from wherever you are and then take you to the UK. We actually help you to settle in on the other side. And people underestimate this point here, because when you do move, again, depending on why you're moving to the UK, you may struggle to settle in. If you've been out of the UK for 6+ years, your friends may have moved all over the UK. The UK is massive, so if you are going back to the village that you used to live in, or to a new village because that's where your husband's job is, or your job, you won't know people. You have to start your friendship group all over again. You are moving back with kids that you may not have had before, or your parents are not, there anymore. So we really try to help them adjust to life. And one of the things, actually, I don't know if you remember when we spoke last, and I said about the petrol. In Dubai, you don't fill up your car at the petrol station. You don't get out of your car. Somebody fills it up for you. In the UK, you have to get out of your car, fill up the petrol, then go into the shop and pay. So it may seem like a really small change, but actually it can be a big impact for some people, because it's like, oh, hang on a second, I'm still sat in the car. Why are they not filling it up? So we really try to work with our clients to make them understand, actually, there will be life changes on the other side. As well as that side, we also help them to kind of settle in, by sorting their utility bills, getting them all set up. One other thing as well that a lot of expats don't realise when they leave the UK is I'm sure you might have similar in the US, is the credit score systems.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so when you've been out of the UK for so long, you don't have a credit score anymore. So you're having to rebuild your credit score up in the UK. So in terms of kind of getting a mortgage, you have to get an expat mortgage. That means a larger deposit and high interest rates. So we have a partner with a mortgage broker who will help that, because it's a very specialist requirement. And also you can't go to a regular bank. Again, it's specialist lenders who will borrow you the money. Yeah, and then even in terms of kind of getting a car, you can't just go, unless you can buy it cash. If you want to do a car hire or a lease or something, again, you need the credit score in. So we have partners on board to help you with that as well. So we've really tried to understand at every point where there will be a pain or a struggle, and we're there to pretty much solve it for you.
Wow. Yeah, I just learned a lot right now, because I had no idea about the whole credit score piece.
Yeah. And you'd be surprised, a lot of expats don't, unless it's time for you to go back, they're simply not aware of this. They're just, yeah.
So it's funny you mentioned that about the gas, and I know you call it petrol, which, so I love that. So, and like I said, this is why it's so fun to talk to other people from outside of the United States, because you have different words for different things, and it's super fun. But for us too, so in New Jersey, you don't pump your gas. We're like the only area that you don't have to pump your own. You don't have to do that. But there are so many times I've gone to like neighboring states, forget country, I'm like, why are they not coming to my pump? And it's not even, it's like literally, outside of the state. And I'm like, yeah. So New York, everywhere else, you have to pump your own gas. And it took to learn how to do it. So it's really,
so you can relate to that.
Totally related to that. But it was funny because you were talking about different countries. I'm talking about neighboring states. So what would you say was one of the biggest challenges in starting WheresHome?
So the biggest challenge that we had, so as part of, obviously we have the concierge service where you can work directly with our team and we can help you relocate. We've also built a platform. So one of the other problems that we found is when you've been out of the UK for so long and then it's time for you to go back, the location that you once knew may have changed. Same as the US, neighborhoods change all the time. Or your family may have moved to different parts, your friends, or your work may have just, different location. So we've actually built a platform that allows you to find your dream location by answering a couple of simple questions. So, what is important in your location? Is it good schools, low crime, your budget, how many, bedrooms the house has, for example. And what the platform then does is it then gives you a list of towns based on your requirements, so your dream location pretty much. But this was a big problem because the UK is really, really big, and trying to build a platform, so we had to use different APIs, trying to build a platform to give that information was really difficult. So obviously it comes at a cost, and we were starting up and we were like, oh, how much money do we really want to invest in this? And we tried to find developers outside of the UK, and it cost us time. it was effort. It was really, really difficult because the UK has a postal code system, and you just need to know the UK in order to do it. So we then had to work with developers in the UK to help us build that. Even when we worked with developers in the UK, that was still really hard because we wanted the platform to give locations, not postcodes. And then they then had to find a workaround to then give towns. So that was kind of our biggest problem. And that took about maybe 1 to 2 months to try and solve. And it cost us time as well. But we got there in the end. We did have really good developers who were very technical and helped us to do that. But that was the most challenging part that we found.
And it sounds so important that you were able to figure it out for those who are your clients. That's wonderful that you were able to.
Exactly. But again, as you mentioned earlier, it's your network as well. You really have to use the people around you, because we found those developers through a friend who's built another app. And he was like, try these guys that I'm using. And actually, they're the ones that worked for us. So my advice to anybody is when you're starting out, I know cost is a problem. You're investing money, you don't know when you're going to see it back or get a return. But try and ask your network first, and try and not to maybe skimp and scrape, because it can cost you in the long run. Especially if you're building anything that's app-based or APIs or a platform. That's the biggest advice I would give, I think.
Thank you. I think that is one of the most interesting things, right? As entrepreneurs, as soon as you start an organization, you kind of start, this happened to you, but I started to get hit very quickly with sales people on the sales side who want to sell you something. This is an entrepreneur that's going to make your life easier, and you can't pick. There's so many things to choose from, and there's organizations. Some actually do what they say they're going to do, others don't. And when you're first choosing who is going to be the right, organization for marketing, PR, your website, all of those things.
Exactly that
is overwhelming. So, do you have any advice for entrepreneurs on that?
Again, I would say go by recommendation. Use your network first of all. And when you are starting out, like I mentioned earlier, the costing, and you're learning at every step. So for myself, obviously, I have a finance background, but when you're running your own company, you have to wear the hat of every role, and you need to tap into your network. Any questions that you have, you cannot be shy. You have to use the people that are around you. If the people around you don't have the skill, ask for referrals, ask if they know anybody in their network. I think that is probably one of the biggest advice that I've received, and the one that I can give to people. I think it's key.
That's great. Yeah, and what I say I've always done is I've asked people to do things a little backwards. Whereas right now I'm just starting out, but if you, I'll stay loyal to you. So if you charge me more,
yes,
with our foundation, with our we've had people more than willing. People don't ask that. Grow. I'll stay dedicated to you. You'll charge me more as we go. And there are certain people that will say, okay, I'll be on this ride with you. And then, again, then you have that validation. They see
that's exactly it. And slightly changing topic a little bit as well. And also as well, don't be discouraged, because, if you feel like somebody has maybe the marketing expertise, or you say, and you ask for their advice, and they may not give you the advice that you were looking for. They might say, I'm not really too sure that your business is going to succeed. As long as you believe in it, keep going, because that's one person's opinion out of how many people, so even if you do go to somebody and you say, can you help me? And they're not as excited or as encouraging, don't let it discourage you. Say, okay, thank you for your opinion. I've taken it on board. Maybe find somebody else, or do take it on board. Maybe they could be right, but just don't let it dishearten you and kind of feel like, why am I doing this?
And it's true, because when you are an entrepreneur, you're putting yourself out there in the middle of what feels like the world. And
exactly,
it's, for certain people, it's easy, like you said before about having a thing, it's easy to get discouraged.
Exactly that.
It's overwhelming. That as an entrepreneur may keep you up at night. If there is anything, what would that thing be?
To keep me up at night? Oh, good question. I think it's probably making sure that, because when you're relocating people to the UK, everything is so time sensitive. You have to complete one bit before you can move to the next bit. So it's kind of like, oh gosh, I mean, is that house going to go through? Because if the house doesn't go through on this time, then I can't apply for the school places. So that's probably, yeah. So that's probably the one thing, I guess, to do with more of WheresHome. That's kind of, that can obviously get me a little bit stressed. But in terms of the entrepreneur journey, I don't think so. I think I've embraced every moment of it. And I've been okay actually with my sleep.
But plus you also, I just want, those listening, you have children. It's not as if you're doing the
Yeah.
goal of being a mom and
Yeah.
being an entrepreneur. So let's talk a little bit about that process as well.
So there's two elements to that, actually. So obviously I mentioned earlier, I was working in corporate, in finance, and anybody that works in finance will understand it's long hours. And I remember, missing some of my children's sports days because I simply had to be at work. I had to close the month. And there's that guilt element of it. But then when you're running your own business, I can block up my own calendar, my own diary for that 1 hour because I want to attend my son's sports event. But then at the same time, you are working longer hours, So I find that I'll go and collect them from school, which is a luxury, but then it's dumping them and then running upstairs and finishing my work. So you do have that guilt element as well. And, my son says to me all the time, "Mummy, you're always working." And I say, "I know, darling, but Mummy loves what she does. And this is what's important. I'm making people's dreams come true." And he's like, "Oh," and he smiles. I don't know if he fully gets it or not, but it is hard getting the balance right, definitely. And as a mum, you do feel guilty. I have my youngest Christian, he's 18 months and he spends a lot of time with our nanny, and that makes me feel, guilty when I'm, hi, and then I'm running out the door to meet with a client, or I'm running upstairs to take a call. Yeah, it is difficult, but again, I love what I do, and it's to show them as well that actually it takes hard work. You can see a wall, you just have to keep laying the brick for the wall to be built. And I kind of want them to have that in them. Even though me and my brothers have all gone on to be entrepreneurs, we didn't have that growing up. I want them to see that and to kind of know that you have to work hard at your dreams, but if you do work hard, you can achieve them. So that's what I tell myself every day to take away the guilt.
But the guilt is so real, whether it's your own company or it's working, even in a job that you just love, or starting something of your own. And my kids are older than yours, 20 and 23. And I worked 80-hour weeks when I was working nonprofit for another nonprofit, and running or helping run organizations, and then starting one. I'm always busy, and I'm always like, well, wait, or wait, I can't talk right now. And I remember my 3-year-old coming to the doorway and looking on a call and like giving her the high sign whether she could come in, or she needs like Sesame Street or something. She could, and I felt terrible. But I see both of their, as much as I heard about, the second grade party I might have missed, that they party. The one thing I will say is both of them are determined, doing all they can to make whatever they want happen. So example, so important, because on the other side, if you're not doing what you love and you're miserable, you're kind of also teaching them to settle. What are your
I totally agree with that. I think that's spot on what you just said. I agree.
So what is your goal, if you had to pick something, or goals for WheresHome in the next 2 to 5 years? What are you hoping for?
So I'm hoping that we still have clients and I can work with them directly, but I would love for, obviously the concierge service, we have to charge a fee. It's my time, and although I love what I do, I obviously can't do it for free. But I would really love for people that can't afford the service to be able to go onto our platform and manage their moves themselves. That would be my dream. So you can connect with our partners directly. they can help you, and you don't have to work with me, even though I would love to work with everybody, but understand that for some people they need our help, but then maybe you're just not in a financial position to pay that. So that would be my dream and is my goal, fingers crossed.
Oh, that sounds great. And you shine when I could see that. It's such a big smile to be able to that makes a major difference for you. That's incredible and wonderful. Any other thoughts that you have in tips and tools for those who right now are on of saying, I've been thinking about this for 2 years, 5 years, but I'm scared. Anything you think of that might help them?
Yeah, so one thing I can think of is you've been thinking about it for 2 years. You may continue thinking about it for 2 years, but you're going to be in the exact same position that you're in now. So just do it. At least you can say, I tried. And if it doesn't work out, which 9 times out of 10, it will work out, you've tried. Don't live with regret and keep going. One of the biggest things is podcasts like these. They are amazing. Listen, find the podcast, listen to every single podcast, educate yourself, and surround yourself with people that are knowledgeable, people that can help, who are willing to help. And just live your dream, because like I said, I've worked in finance for 13 to 14 years and I'm here now completely different. But it's funny because I was in the UK in the summer and my friend said to me, I remember when we were 15, I'm 36 now. I remember we were 15 and you used to call estate agents saying, can I view a property? So my passion started, from all those years ago, and I'm living it now. So I'd say just go for it.
So I'm so glad you shared that, because you had an idea that we're going to head in that direction. And so think about, like, it was a sign all the way back. You just weren't ready yet.
Exactly that. Totally agree. And and touching on that as well, divine timing as well. When the time is ready, the door will open. And I do feel like last year, that door opened for us. And every day, it doesn't feel like work for me, if I'm being honest. It doesn't. I love what I do. I love seeing, families happy on the other side. And hopefully if we can build what we're aiming to build, then we will make millions of people happy.
Absolutely. That's awesome. That's wonderful. I have to ask you this question.
Yeah.
We chatted early on. Obviously, I'm here in the United States and you're in Dubai, but Dubai sounds absolutely amazing in the way they treat their special things that you do. So I thought, for those listeners who may not have a clue, can you share a little bit of the Dubai culture with us?
So Dubai is an amazing place to live. So if you are single, if you're a family, whatever it may be, you're starting out in your career, Dubai is for everyone. I kind of see Dubai similar to New York. Your dreams can be made. There's definitely a lot of opportunities. The lifestyle is amazing. Don't get me wrong, in the summer, it's extremely hot. It's around 50 degrees, so it is really, really hot. But if you do have a family, it's set up so well for families. There's things to do. There's beaches, free beaches or paid for beaches. There's a million restaurants. And just the culture is really good. One of the biggest things I think as well, and again, going back to WheresHome and educating our clients, is there is everybody from all over the world in Dubai. So even though my children go to a British school, there's not just British people in their class. So my children get to learn about different religions and cultures. So that's amazing to see, my 6-year-old talking about, praying 5 times a day, about Muslim, it's Islam, it's amazing. And I feel like for my children, I don't know when the day will be that we return back to the UK, but I do feel as though they've had a good head start on life and they will be more educated about different religions and races, which I think is amazing and one of the biggest assets you can give to your children, to be honest.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think when we talked to you, you said that most people have nannies, right? That's kind of...
Yes, correct. I'm one of those. So we do, Dubai does have a very luxurious lifestyle as well. So you do get accustomed. So like I mentioned about the petrol, you can also get your petrol delivered to you. So you just leave your, you just leave your, the little gas tank thing open on your car, and then they come and they fill it up. On top of that, you do have nannies, you have drivers, you have chefs, So Dubai is set up so you don't need to do anything for yourself, basically.
Incredible.
Yeah, it is. If you want one Krispy Kreme delivered, you can get one Krispy Kreme delivered. But it has so much to offer, and there's people wanting to come to Dubai all the time. And obviously the biggest factor is as well, it's tax free. So when you receive your paycheck at the end of the month, you know that's your salary. So
That's
it's
incredible.
Yeah, it is. It's really good. And another good thing to mention as well, actually, with Dubai is the healthcare is very, very good. I think they adopted similar to the US, so everything is private. So I've had my 3 children in Dubai, and going to the hospital felt like I was checking into a hotel. It's what's your 3-course menu would you like to select?
Oh my goodness.
Yes, yeah. So it's definitely a nice place to live.
Well, and then didn't you tell me too, the last thing I'll mention is afternoon tea, is that right?
Oh yes, with the steak. Yes, with the steak and the fresh passion fruit jam. It's the food out here is unbelievable. The quality and the variety of restaurants is amazing. So you definitely won't get bored.
It sounds it, but but it's so great too, because like you said, for those who want to come into Dubai, although not of what you were going to do as an organization, such a wealth of information on that side as well.
Exactly. And Dubai, they have, so one of the things as well to mention is going back to, I guess, the children element of it as well, is my son Joshua, who just turned 6, he's doing triathlon training at 6 years old, and he's been doing that since he was 4.5. So Dubai not only offers us of opportunities for adults, but also for children as well. So the activities that they do, it's endless. There's so much to do. So if anybody is thinking about coming to Dubai, I highly recommend it. And like I said, the demand to come here, obviously we're running the Expo 2020 at the moment as well, so the demand's gone up higher. But yeah, if you do need to move to Dubai, reach out to me. I'll help you with that and guide you as much as possible. But if you want to do it, again, do it. Don't wait until years to come and then you regret it.
And it's so funny. So I'm interviewing all these different entrepreneurs all separately.
Yeah.
And there's a common theme that's incredible.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a Nike commercial. They definitely have something, because honestly, it's really so funny. So if you talk to people that for larger organizations, they might not say just do it. They went a little bit more conservative. If you're talking to somebody who's been working for an organization for a very long time and you're having and you're all excited about it, and they're like, no, there's safety net in working for but entrepreneur to entrepreneur, it's like that.
Yeah, it is just
simple.
Exactly.
And I thought that, I think it's just literally those words on almost every episodes with this entrepreneur.
Just have the slogan in the back behind on your wall, just do it.
I know Nike's gonna get so mad at me. But either that or maybe they'll pay me, right? To be like they'll be a sponsor of the.
Yes.
That's awesome. So Nadine, I want to ask you the question that I ask all of my podcasts, and that is, if you knew then what you know now, what would that be?
Oh, that's a very, very good question. I would say to learn from every single person around you. So if you are graduating and you're about to take a new job, or you are in the corporate world, or whatever it may be, learn from every single person, because it does benefit you when you're on this journey. And also as well is when I think about where I am now and I look back, I've come so far, and the determination every single day to get up. And when you're first starting out, you don't get any responses, you don't get any feedback, you have to keep pushing. So have faith and belief in what you're doing, and you will succeed.
It's true, because I think too, we expect like, oh, we've got a goal for today, and we didn't, or we didn't get that person, or they said no.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a team and because you're flying solo.
Exactly.
You feel like, oh, I don't know if I could do this anymore. I don't know if I could do another. And it's picking yourself back up every day. your plan makes
This
the
is it.
organization makes a difference.
Yeah. And also just one other thing as well, I'll definitely
Yes.
say is build your network, because you don't realize how much you'll need that when you are on the entrepreneur journey. Because you could just mention somebody, oh, I set up this company. Oh, actually, I know somebody that might be able to help you. And then before you know, you've got a client or you've got some work. So build the network. That's one of the things as well on the journey that I would recommend.
Yeah. And what you said before is so true. And I'm not saying this because I host a podcast.
Yeah.
If you're having that down day and your network isn't available,
Yeah.
or you're just driving in the car or whatnot, putting on your favorite person, right? To
most definitely. I cannot recommend podcasts enough. And there's times when I have had days where it's been like, oh, when's this going to pay off? And, but actually I've put on a podcast and it's interesting. It could be one simple sentence that says, just do it or keep going. And it completely changes your mood. And you learn from people, you learn that everybody has to go on this journey and it doesn't happen overnight.
No, not at all. How long have you been at WheresHome?
So we started this year in March, actually. So I was working previously, kind of doing a little bit on the side. And then I was like, okay, no, this is it. I'm going to do it full time and commit to it.
Here I am saying that was my last question, but I didn't ask you that. But so you've done so much in such a...
Yes, we really have. And and that's why I feel like it was meant to be, because things haven't come easy to us. Obviously, we've had to work. But obviously we've built this partners that help the clients to kind of, whatever stage are they at with finding a property or moving back home. But when I speak to them, again, it's validation that this is what's needed. It's amazing. Of course, we're on board. So that's really, really helped as well in the, how willing they are. So we've been very, very lucky in that. And we haven't just chosen any partners. We have made sure that we've picked people who care and can make the journey as seamless as possible for our clients.
So for those who are listening, you might not get to see when Nadine about how much she loves what she does, how much she smiles and shines right through the Zoom screen here. And that's the key. When you know it and you feel it, you have a smile, from one end of your, your face to the other. That I think it goes a long way. So I encourage the podcast listeners to also head over to the YouTube channel and just take a look at what, doing what you love looks like. That's what's really keen. When you do what you love, you could just feel it in your gut and you can just see someone else's face too. And that helps you. It helps you as well. So Nadine, any last things that you would like to share before we head out?
I guess I've kind of put it on repeat, but obviously, the entrepreneur journey can be lonely. And like I say, you could tell somebody your idea or your business and you may not get the encouragement that you would like or you'd wish for. But as long as you believe it, that's enough, to be honest. Listen to podcasts, read, educate yourself, because that's what's really going to help you. And one of the things that I'm actually searching for at the moment is a mentor. I believe mentors can really help. Again, they may have a network that can help you. But if you are thinking about it or you have been thinking about it, just do it. As cheesy as that sounds.
Not at all. It is not. But also, I love it because, when we first started talking, we talked about somehow Tyler Perry was your mentor. So you never know.
This is the crazy thing. This will actually make you laugh. I was never a Tyler Perry fan. This is the thing. And then until I got introduced to, because he's a pastor, so he actually preaches. When I've been introduced to that element, I was like, wow, he completely blew my mind. And yeah, most definitely.
You just never know. You never know who has that influence. How do people find WheresHome?
So you can find us on Instagram under WheresHome, LinkedIn, all of the social media channels, Twitter, Facebook, or you can visit our website at www.whereshome.co.uk. Unfortunately, we've not been able to get the .com, but you can find us on .co.uk. Yes. But reach out to me directly. Even if you have a question, please, I'm here to help out. I'm willing to help anyone, so don't be shy.
She is, truly she is. And .co.uk, I'm getting used to that now. I'm getting used to and putting that in. So that's been super fun too. Nadine Sowah, thank you so much.
Oh, no, you're more. Thank you for having me. Honestly, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much, Jodie. Really nice.
It's been super, super, super fun. And I'm going to say what I always say at the end of every today is the day. You cannot go back to yesterday, and you do not yet own tomorrow. So what small or large steps are you going to take today to get you closer to your goal? Again, Nadine, thank you for sharing your journey with us. And we'll be back again next week with the Today's the Day Changemakers podcast.
Thank you so much.
Bye. Have a great